Chiellini, vuole dimissione la testa, Tevez da solo, Tevez al limite dell'area, fa fuori tutti, Tevez, chiama la porta, Tevez, gol, da dietro, Pirlo dentro,
Ciao Juventini, welcome back to the All Juve Cast channel. It's Alberto here, and I am happy to have Frankie back. It's been way too long, and I'm sure everybody's gonna be happy to see Frankie. Frankie, how have you been, man? How you been doing?
I've been good. It's been a long time. I'm happy to be back, and I'm really excited to talk about Juventus, man. I really miss that talking about Juventus.
There you go. Yeah, we're happy having you back, Luca, Frankie. Yeah, we're pumped, and we got a lot to talk about, and it'll be interesting to hear Frankie's perspective because, again, it's been a while since we had Francisco back here. So first, real quick, we got to get a little bit of business out of the way. Okay, so everybody, let's get the likes up to maximum on this video. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. Why are you going to subscribe? I'll tell you why. Number one, it's all UV all the time. But number two, we are going to give away 3 2022-23 kits, okay? And we're getting very, very close to doing that. So we put out a last call yesterday on following us on Twitter, subscribing to the YouTube channel. I'm going to give you guys a little tidbit at the end of this live as to what the next step of this giveaway is going to be, okay? And we've got even more jumping in here now on this live, and we've got a lot to talk about, okay? Look at everybody's talking about Kostic, and then we've got Depay, the Depay talks and whatnot. So we're going to kick this thing off, basically trying to get a little bit of Frankie's thoughts here and whatnot. So, but I do have one last thing, everybody, okay? Test your Fantacalcio abilities, skills with our team. Join our league, okay? SeriaFantasy.com, code G142VL6B, okay? Get in there. We're going to have a lot of fun, and there's going to be prizes for everybody to win as well, all right? Frankie, get your team ready. And don't everybody be, disheartened just because my team's in there and is probably going to win because it's unreal. Just get in there and let's have some fun. Look at Frankie already get in there. Get in there, buddy. Let's see it. So look at this. Look at all the welcome backs for Frankie. That's awesome.
Thank you. You're all welcome back in Puerto Rico.
Oh, there we go.
Welcome.
There we go.
You're welcome.
All right. So it's been a while since we talked to Frankie. So we're going to talk a little bit about just this Mercado as a whole because there's still some mixed reviews. So yesterday on the main on Twitter, we put out the feelings basically that are how would you rate this Mercado so far if Juventus has basically seen Pogba, Di Maria, Kostic come in. There are talks of Depay, obviously Paredes. If we can wrap up this Rabiot deal right now, the news breaking out is that it basically comes down to the personal terms between Rabiot and Manchester United. Rumors he's asking for around 10 million a season. Shocking stuff that I saw somebody with 500,000 followers that's big in Manchester United Twitter and social media and whatnot say that he is similar to Sergei Milinkovic-Savic. That, my friends, is somebody that, just simply tell me you know nothing about Serie A or the players that play there, but they are pretty pumped. He even put out a tweet once Monaco, didn't qualify for Champions League saying, oh, Rabiot is ours. Oh, yeah, he's yours. Please. Okay, so let's go like this, Frankie. Okay, we're going to just pull that one up and let's take a look at basically some of the outgoings. Ramsey, we don't even consider because really he wasn't even a part of the team for quite some time, right? So we're not even going to drop him in there. But you have Chiellini that left. You have Dybala on a free, Bernardeschi on a free, okay? And then, again, we were working with, let's go with those names. In Pogba, Di Maria, Bremer, Kostic, Depay, Paredes out, De Ligt, let's say Rabiot, Rovella on a loan, Dybala free, Bernardeschi free, Chiellini going, okay? How do you feel so far with that?
We need first of all to separate between the Mercado itself and what we're seeing about the team, because sometimes fans, and I include myself, rate the Mercado in with the performances on the team on preseason, and we cannot do that because if the team is not rolling at their best in the preseason, that's the coach's fault. That's not the management's fault. So we need to take that into consideration. Obviously, if you get a player and the player doesn't pan out to be that good of a player, you're gonna receive backlash. But we're talking about how the management has maneuvered in this Mercado. It's been good, frankly, because we got a hit on the leg situation. It's something that we didn't expect the player just to say, I want out. It's not something that Juventus was thinking about at the end of the season. It did happen. And they got, frankly, the best replacement that they could. And also, they pocket some money because the leg went out, frankly, for about 80 million if you take all add-ons and all that. And he had a big salary. You take a player who he was better last season. You can say whatever you want about the talent of the player and that all that, but if we're talking facts, Bremer was a better defender last season in Serie A.
Yeah,
let's take that into consideration. Who is still a young player? Who he's like 24, and he is also he has a lower salary, which fits better with our new standards. So on that aspect, we're good. Uh, the Pogba signing is a good signing. Obviously, the injury happened. Nobody is predicting that. On a free, I think he's frankly right now our best midfielder, and he hasn't even played, but he's our best midfielder. You're getting a tremendous player on Angel Di Maria when everybody was not everybody, but some people were doubting. I'm saying, what are you thinking? This guy is electric. He's a great player. We're getting those three guys. We'll probably get rid of Rabiot's contract, which is a bad contract, and the person saying that Milinkovic, Savic, and Rabiot are the best player are the same guys saying that Betancourt and Pirlo were the same guys. Come on now, you need to pay
fair.
attention.
Yeah.
You need to pay attention. And you're probably also, I don't know if this is going to end well. Management is trying to get Arthur out of the team also. It's something that they are working on. Maybe it doesn't happen, but they are trying. So you are able to get rid of some players that were not fit for us, getting players that are fit for us, and adapting. And you're seeing a straight line in the management, and I'm really happy. Probably we will get Kostic, which is a player that will help us a lot on that left side. I know Alberto has been very vocal. I was very vocal last season about that left side, and thank God.
Yeah.
And maybe we get another play in Depay, which frankly fits better in that 4-3-3 mode that maybe we will play. He can play on the wing, and he can play as a center striker. So I'll give them. I saw your rating. You gave them a safe 7.5.
I went 7.5 to 8 right now as it stands. It would go even higher for me if we got some fullbacks. If some fullback help, I would say yes. If Kostic is the idea to help that in a 3-5-2, which we will get to, we'll get to that. Maybe, just maybe, but it still leaves me just that little bit out there. But again, what a lot of people aren't factoring in, I think, with all these moves. So first, let's get your rating right now as it sits before we break it down a little further.
I'll go 7. I would go 8 if we confirm that Rabiot is going to Manchester United. Frankly, that's what makes me not go to 8 yet.
See, the thing with the Rabiot, for me, the Rabiot deal and everything, that's massive if they can swing that. Because honestly, we've seen him play. We've seen everything that's there and whatnot. And he's on his final year. He came to us in a free and whatnot. So to be able to swing a move right now, this summer, for him to accept at a team that's not in Champions League as well, there's a lot of factors in there that make this move especially difficult. So if they're able to sell this guy on, that's massive, a massive coup for Juve, because that's capital money coming in that we didn't bank on. I didn't bank on Rabiot going this summer for a while, especially like after Pogba got injured. But of course, he chose a physio route, which apparently there were some leaks yesterday that it might not be as bad as originally intended and whatnot. Maybe the physio's already kicked off to a decent start. We don't know, but 5 weeks was kind of the time frame and whatnot. Maybe that kind of changed Juve's mind to kind of make that push for it. Maybe just also some of the other names that are coming around. There's also a report that Rovella is going to be loaned out, most likely to Monza. So for me, the Arthur thing, first of all, I've been saying all last season and for a while, it is going to be very, very difficult for Juventus to move Arthur on in any way. Even alone now, it appears very difficult to move him on. And Gattuso was very upfront about it, and it's a salary. It's a salary even when you're trying to loan him. Trying to sell him, I never thought that they could be able to make that sell based on what he stands as. So the money's been an issue. So it's a tough spot. The cleanup that Cherubini and Arrivabene have had to do cannot be disregarded when we rate this Mercato. So a lot of the lower scores that I saw coming in on the Twitter feed and whatnot were basically saying that, what is our project? Because we were sold on a project that was going to be a youth movement and an Italian core movement and whatnot. So, I personally was with that. I'm into it. It's all good. But this particular Mercado and the names that are coming in, even if it doesn't fit that mold, it's been good business. And they've been able to maneuver. They've been able to bring the wages down. They have been able to work within their means to get deals. And I truly do believe that quite a few of these guys are upgrades on what was going on before in the team. And they're a couple pieces away from strengthening it further. If you look at Depay, so let's just say, for instance, okay, I don't see this, and this is just me speaking before we get Frankie's take, and of course, everybody in the live, I don't think they've abandoned what they want to do, or by any means, okay? I just think that at this particular moment in time, they can't fully lock in to maybe what that original game plan was. But if you want to talk about young Italians and whatnot, Locatelli's still considered a young player. Chiesa we have, and he's in there and whatnot. You've got Fagioli and Miretti. Fagioli's contract extension, by the way, is finalized as of this morning. Done. Confirmed. 2026 extension. So even with Rovella being out on loan, that just tells me that the specific position that he is going to be at, they are probably looking at Locatelli and banking on Paredes coming in. So Rovella's loan, I don't see being done until they figure out what happens with Paredes. Because if Paredes doesn't come, which obviously is barring the Rabiot move, if that falls through, I actually think Rovella would stay, to be honest. Because I think they see Paredes and Locatelli as a 1-2 swap. But of course, Fagioli and Miretti, can't forget about these guys. They might see a hell of a lot in Miretti to make that call and whatnot, to keep him around. There's talks of him and Fagioli battling for the starting lineup against Sassuolo next to Locatelli with Zaccaria on the other side. So there's a lot going on here. But in terms of their Mercado, again, Raspadori, 40 million. I was never sold on Raspadori. That's a lot of money. Zaniolo, there's reports still coming out of Juve pushing very, very hard for Zaniolo, but unable to make it work. And to me, that's the numbers, because maybe that loan plus obligation, the delayed payments thing, is not something that is going to happen. But let me tell you this. Should we have gotten Raspadori, okay, would all of you have been upset if we came to this point in time now and Memphis Depay figures out a compensation with Barcelona to cut his contract loose and he's available on a free, but all of a sudden you're not able to take him up on that? You just splashed money. You've got ways of whatever. What if your hands are tied in that certain, of course he's free and whatnot, but roster spots in general? Like, I would have been upset if something would have cut that out. And to me, I'd take Depay over Raspadori every day and twice on Sunday. To be honest, that's just me. So, like Frankie, we've got to consider all of these things come into play and whatnot. How do you feel about the actual project, and do you see it as a bit of an abandonment on what we were sold earlier?
Yeah, I agree with you in a lot of points. Also, I want to add, a lot of people were talking about the age that of the players that we were getting in, but we need to take into consideration something. Di Maria, being an older player, yes, still on a fantastic form. He's probably been the best player on our preseason, and he's on a 1-year contract. And also, Kostic is on a low salary, 2.5 million is reported, which is low, frankly, taking into consideration the caliber of player he is. It's a low salary, and I don't think it's gonna be a long contract. I see max 3 years. I don't know if there are any other reports, but I don't see a long contract in that situation. Maybe 2-3 years, which is acceptable. And also, the situation with Rabiot is also that his salary is pretty big. If we are able to sell Rabiot for, let's say, 50 million, to lowball the offer, 50 million, which you were not counting on this Mercado, also getting that salary out of your books is going to be huge for us.
Yeah.
Let's not forget Gotti. If we're talking about the Italian project, Gotti is going to get a lot of minutes this season. And I'm really pumped about what I've seen of Gotti in his presence, his demeanor, and the way he attacks the offensive players of the other team. You combine that with Bremer and even though I'm not the biggest fan, but the experience of Bonucci is going to help us a lot. We still have Chiesa coming back, who is a young player. You get Fagioli and Miretti, as you well said. And I want to add, I think Rovella is probably... Juventus is thinking about loaning out Rovella because Rovella is a guy who's gonna frankly play as a regista. That's the idea that I think Allegri has for Rovella. But Miretti at his best last season was playing that role. When Locatelli was out, the guy playing the middle, building up from the back, was Miretti. That was his best performances, because when he played on one of the two other spots on the midfield, he wasn't as good. And playing Miretti on that deep role with, frankly, Luca and Zaccaria, and when Pogba comes back, and if Locatelli goes back to that position of right back, you still have Miretti as a backup. That's why I think Rovella is going to be loaned out. I think that the project is good. Frankly, I wasn't that big on Raspadori because we were planning to play on a 4-3-3, and Raspadori didn't fit them all. If you wanted Raspadori so bad, then that Raspadori's, I'm not saying the same player, but it's sort of a Dybala kind of player. Like, he's not a pure striker, and he can be a false nine. Those kind of players maybe are not good for us right now. So I'm really happy with the project. I think we can still go Italian. I think next season is gonna be next Mercato, the Mercado next summer is gonna be big for us because finally we will gonna be able to get last those last players that are not that valuable for us out. When we're
Yeah.
talking about, frankly, Alexandro, who's the big name that everybody's talking about when we're talking about big number guys with big salaries, and we could still get players on a free. Sergei Milinkovic-Savic is going to be on a free next season, so the management has been able to put us in a good position, upgrading from the players that we already have,
Yeah.
lowering in some aspects our salary, or be more productive on spending our salaries while still being able to compete.
Yeah.
If the players don't perform at their best, we should not just look at management. Allegri is gonna get a lot of flack this season if this team doesn't perform, and I haven't seen the structure that I wanted. I always say, and you know that you know what I'm talking about. I always say the same thing. If players don't perform at their best individually, I can manage, and I'll say maybe that's not the coach's fault. But when I don't see order and structure on a team, then I get pissed off at the coach. And I haven't seen that structure and that organization in Juventus preseason. It's still preseason, so I want to see them playing Serie A, playing in Europe. We still have time, obviously, but I think we better get this team playing at least with the same ideas. If we don't, if some player doesn't perform at their best because they are not playing good, that's not all in Allegri. But if
Yeah.
this team is not defending as a unit, playing as a unit, that's the coach's fault, and
Yeah.
he's getting paid a lot of money if that
So
doesn't work.
we're gonna get into this too. So again, speaking of the Mercado and everything, we've kind of laid it out, and I think and the general consensus amongst the live here is that yeah, they have done good business. They've done a good job. Have they abandoned everything completely as far as a project we were sold? I don't believe so. It just plans have to change. The other thing that when I read these negative posts, and you start questioning them, you start saying, okay, well, what brings your score for the Mercado higher? For God's sakes, it's only like a move or two different than what they've actually done so far. It's just people are looking for fullback help. There's still a couple weeks left to this Mercado, and rumors are really picking up on Pellegrini being out, and maybe, just maybe, there is a fullback coming in. In terms of some of Kostic, in terms of some of the concerns with Kostic and us using him in maybe a wingback style and whatnot, is always the defense, the defending, and all this. But here's this, okay? Preseason or not, the game has evolved and the game has changed. To go out there, if our game plan is to have Sandro on one side and Danilo on the other, you are leaving a massive gap in support for the attack on both sides. You have to pick one side, and you're going to have to risk it, okay? And I'm fine sacrificing some of the defense if we get that offensive output. And nobody was complaining about Cuadrado, as he's been doing it for years, and his defense is not by any means up to snuff when he plays at the right back position. But that year when he gave us like 16 assists, you can deal with it. So if somebody comes in here and they're a little more attack minded on that left side and can make that left side make sense for us in matches, because it was absolutely abysmal all last season, I will sacrifice a little bit of defensive output. Now, in terms of the Mercado, one other thing I want to point out, that a lot of these posts that were not giving Cherubini and Arriva Bene enough credit, in my personal opinion, they're not factoring in the fact of how much is delayed in payment, okay? And those payments, you have to be ready and they have to be accounted for. So everybody almost forgets we picked up Vlahovic in January. You have to pay for Vlahovic. So
Yeah.
that's going to be the next season, okay? Chiesa, we had to pay for Chiesa this season, earlier in the 2022 calendar. So that, again, that money is gone and whatnot. So with the funds that were available, and obviously we've all seen by now in how Juve has operated, that reported number of 80 to 85 million for a transfer budget was simply not even close to what I think they were truly working with. The Delict deal, the Delict money didn't come in instantly. That's coming in installments. Bremer, to purchase Bremer, it's a 3-year payment plan by Juventus, but almost 14 million of it had to come out of this season's. So, they're doing a really, really good job. Again, a lot of the cleanup that everybody's putting on them isn't their fault. It's not their fault that they have to deal with a Rabiot. They have to deal with an Artur. It's not their fault they have to deal with a Sandro that arguably didn't need to be extended when he was. So these are all things they're trying to work through. After next season, like after this upcoming season, the cleanup is basically taken care of for them because they have no choice, and some of these contracts just end. I think once that cleanup's kind of there, I truly believe Cherubini and Arriva Bene are going to rip Italy to shreds, man. From what I'm seeing now, being, not truly handcuffed, but really being shackled by bad previous deals and financial burden and whatnot, the way I'm seeing them operate through this, man, when it's clean, I'm telling you guys, Juventini, be pumped on these two guys because they are going to rip Italy to shreds. I have no doubt about it once the cleanup's done. Frankie, what do you think in terms of my statement on that?
I agree 100%. I'm really pleased what I'm seeing with Cherubini and Arriva Bene, and when with Arriva Bene, because Cherubini is doing excellent in the football sense, getting the players what we need, communicating with Allegri, what should we buy, what shouldn't we buy, taking input. But I'd like to talk about Arriva Bene because he's setting up a standard, and he's also saying we're a club. We should play as a club, as a team, and players should be part of the club and to represent the club, which is the most important thing. He's putting Juventus up top. The players are below Juventus, not the other way around. And when you see the comments when he's speaking to the press, he's talking about the Juventus, the team, the history that we have. That we shouldn't be Juventus should not be catering to players, catering to their demands. Obviously, there's a modern way of doing business, and players need to be taken care of, and that's completely understandable. But at some moments, you need to put the hammer down and say, no, that's not the way we do it here. Yeah. And the best teams right now are being managed that way. When we talk about the big guns, we're talking about Real Madrid, who just won the Champions League last season, in La Liga in Spain. You have leadership up top who demands and also who plans in a healthy way with economic limitations, because even though you make a lot of money, you need to spend that money wisely. When you talk about Bayern Munich, it's the same way. You need to spend your money wisely, not because you have the money you need to spend it. Just spend it in a way that helps the team. When we talk about Liverpool, that's the standard. Manchester City, even though it's a different kind of club, we all know that those guys have money, a lot of money. The team is the most important thing. Then you get the individuals, because you have seen good players leave because just they don't fit the team, and that's the way Juventus is being built up. And I'm very happy with Arriva Bene. And the comments he have said are frankly true. Yeah. Players should be more loyal to the team and less loyal to the agents. And at the end of the day, the agent represents the player. That's the truth. But we've seen a lot of cases in which uh, deals are not being done just because the agents want a big fee. And if that's the case, if you're that kind of a player, then frankly, we don't need you on our team because we want you as a player. And then if you want to play your agent, that's good. But we need to set a standard. We need to set a precedent. And Arriba Bene is doing it. And I agree completely. Next season is gonna be an entirely different story because you're getting out of the Santos deal. Uh,
Yeah.
we're banking out if Rabiot doesn't leave this season, he's leaving that next season. You're getting out those guys, and you're gonna get young players or very good players in pretty much no money spent because Saniolo is gonna be free next season if I'm not being misunderstood. If I'm correct,
Yeah.
Milinkovic Savic, another excellent player, who's gonna be a free transfer if he
Yeah.
doesn't leave for another team right now. And the important thing is we're building the structure. We're building a team that young guys can get in, and also we're sending a message to any player who wants to play for Juventus, a message that says, "We want you here, but we're not willing to pay any price. We're not doing any more Ronaldo deals. We're not just paying you whatever you want to you and your agent. There's a standard. You need to be under that standard, and also you need to frankly adapt to the economics that this club has."
Yeah. And I think SMS is one more year beyond Zaniolo, but I get the point of what you're saying is that, and that's another thing with Zaniolo too, is not committing to that immediately, if maybe that's the case, but I think they would have committed. I truly believe Roma just wanted everything up front, but everything you said there, yeah, these guys are doing a very, very good job. The cleanup, while all those contracts kind of end and everything, and next year it'll be a lot different, I still think it's the year beyond that where they truly achieve freedom. Cherubini and Arriva Bene, that is. But again, Super League, let's wait and see. There's a lot in the works, and a lot could change and whatnot. But the cleanup, it just can't be denied. So I asked everybody that was putting negative comments on Juve's Mercado and whatnot, and I just said, look, I get it. Some of the names might be not the names that you would choose or handpick and whatnot. So maybe that's why you don't like the Mercado. But can you honestly say, given the cleanup that had to happen, given the financials and what we're seeing out of the moves they have, and maybe working with a budget of, let's say, 40 million euros, can you honestly say that is not a good Mercado for Juventus? There's no way anyone can convince me that this Mercado was not good work by these two, given everything we just talked about, including delayed payments on all these deals, Vlahovic and whatnot, and paying for Chiesa earlier this season. There's just no way you could tell me that. So let's get to some questions. We do have a question coming in here from the live, and I'm going to have to get Fayez to kind of break this one down for me. He said, where will we be in the table after all the transfers are complete? So are you talking just after the first few rounds, like at the end of August when the deadline's over? Or do you mean this season? Because we're going to have a live prediction show on Saturday morning. So if you're thinking at the end of the season, I'll tell you where Juve is going to finish, but you got to tune in on Saturday morning. But if you wanted me to tell you after the first few rounds at the end of the deadline where we're going to be, we'll be in the top three come end of August. Frankie,
we better be.
We better be. That's just right. So with that said, we're going to go back to a little bit of what Frank was talking about. We're going to get a feel for how these Juventini in the live chat feel, okay? Because this now becomes whether, the majority of us feel it's a good Mercado, very, very good under all these circumstances, okay? So with that being said, I've been very vocal about this on Twitter and the videos, the daily updates I do. None of this matters. Even if we went out and got Milinkovic, Savic, got Zaniolo, whatever. None of it matters if you cannot put it together on the pitch. So now, pressure. I do believe Max Allegri will be on a short leash this season. How short of a leash? Well, that's going to be hard to tell because of the fact that he's locked in for 4 years. And that's another contract on itself that, would create problems if Juve were to try and break free of that. However, they have a very good relationship between, Agnelli, Juventus, Allegri, and whatnot. It's a good relationship. So the bottom line is, no matter who you bring in, you have to put it together on the pitch. And the players and Max will all be responsible for delivering after what Cherubini and Arrivabene have done. There are discussions. So in terms of Kostic, he's going to sign with Juventus. He's going to fly into Turin and get medicals. We've all heard about it this morning that he's basically delayed for bureaucratic reasons. Okay. So he's probably not going to actually maybe go through anything until Thursday. Okay. So maybe tomorrow is when he actually finally arrives. There's still talks about him starting against Sassuolo on the Monday, which is a quick turnaround. We have some reported lineups we alluded to earlier in a 3-5-2. So before we talk about Memphis Depay, which is still up in the air, before we talk about a Paredes, which is still up in the air, okay? 3-5-2, okay? Szczesny, Cuadrado as a wingback, Danilo, Bonucci, Bremer, Kostic in the middle, one of Fagioli or Miretti on the left side of Locatelli with Zaccaria on the right, Di Maria, Vlahovic up top. Theoretically, 3-5-2, if this were a route we want to go, I want to get Frankie's feelings on a 3-5-2 and everybody else here that's on the live. And I want to remind everybody, take the second to hit that like button, okay? Hit that like button. Let's go. Frankie, 3-5-2.
I have to say I'm biased because I do love that formation.
And I apologize. Thank you very much. Szczesny's hurt. Perrin. Okay,
yeah.
but Szczesny will be the go-to immediately once he's back and he's not far away. It's like 15 to 20 days or something. So my apologies.
Well, like I was saying, I'm biased because I do love the 3-man back. It's my favorite formation. I always like that kind of defense. But man, I don't see it. I don't see it because of Allegri. Allegri is not that gigantic fan of the back three. He has to use it when he needs to, but that's not his go-to formation. And also our situation in the center back position, because even though you talk about playing with Danilo as a center back, we need to take into consideration Danilo is going to be playing more as a right back. That's his most important role at this moment because we do need a backup on that position. Cuadrado is an older player. He cannot play every game, especially as a wing back, which is more demanding physically. And even though we got Gotti, who frankly, as I said before the live started to Berto, I'm more confident on him with each passing day because I've seen his attitude. Everybody's talking great about him, and I've seen him play, and he's frankly being good. I just think on a back three we're short on center backs, and that's the big thing with me because you getting Danilo out of the equation because frankly I don't see him on that role as a center back. I see him more as a backup, a right back, or even the starting right back. To be fair, we only have we only have Bonucci, Bremer, Gotti, and Rugani. 4 guys for 3 spots.
But they're going to utilize Danilo in there.
Yeah, but if Cuadrado can play, who's playing on the right position? That's the thing. If you play on a back three, you're protecting yourself more on the fullback position, because you do have Kostic and Cuadrado who are very good offensively. Yes, but you are short, very, very dangerously short on that center back position. And that's my main fear.
I
If Juventus,
think my fear, sorry, not to cut you off, Frankie, but my fear is Bonucci in a back four.
I agree.
I mean, and to be honest, Danilo's
Better.
kicked off this preseason looking very, very bad and sloppy. Bonucci has looked very, very bad so far. It's just preseason, but still, you'd want those guys to give you a little bit more confidence than they have. Bonucci, there's a lot of good points coming in from live chat, and I kind of been thinking about this a lot too, is he gets much more help in a back three. And it can help us in terms of utilizing one of his strengths, which is the ball playing ability from the back. That is one of Bremer's biggest knocks, is his ball playing ability. I've seen it firsthand too in that training session down in Los Angeles and whatnot. He really, really does struggle. So in Los Angeles, they basically condensed the field. They shortened it up and they made it not as wide. And then we're playing. So it was a lot of fast action, and the press was almost always on. And he really, really struggles in ball distribution and whatnot. It's probably the only knock you could take on him. Bonucci back there, he made some decision errors, whatnot, but no doubt about it, he's the best at trying to find the passes from the back line. And based on what they were working on in those sessions, it's something that's going to be a part of this season big time, because they're basically letting that regista drop right back, but they're not always hitting the regista. So they're almost banking for teams to try to rule out our regista, and they're sending those Metsalas up forward and either trying to link up off Vlahovic on a one touch after a long ball, or they're trying to hit the flank and then go quickly into the Metsalas to try and run at defenses. That's their ideas of what they've worked a lot on this summer in terms of how to gain that final third. I saw nothing of work in the final third. That said, okay, it literally stopped there, and I was like, are we not going to put another back line there and finish off the rest of the... They never did. So it's quite funny. We were making jokes about it in the crowd, like, hey, we only scored 57 goals last season. Let's put some back lines back there and try and figure out how to crack them. But I think the back three gives a bit of a safety net there for Bonucci. The plan, I believe, for Juventus was always this particular Mercado to find that partner for De Ligt. Once De Ligt was forcing his move out, changed everything. So I think Gatti's going to actually surprise a lot of people this season. I truly do. And even in the preseason matches, even just the training session, like, this kid, I think, is going to shock a lot of people. And not even kid, because he's older than what most people he's actually younger than most people think looking at him, because he's an absolute unit, but a little bit older than most guys that just break into the league. I think Gatti's going to surprise everybody, but 3-5-2, I can see it probably being the best with what we have right now. However,
on the long run,
certain guys come back, and then I ditch the 3-5-2. But right now,
we're capable of that.
It's probably the best right now at this current moment in time.
But on that aspect, Juventus, to you, I'm talking to you, Alberto. Juventus has shown you that they are able to adapt from one formation to another that fast.
That's the thing.
Oh,
the part that gets me is not having tried it before. However, I don't know if you try it with, I think it's the addition of Kostic kind of changes things. I think Max is, you get pumped by Atletico like that, training session, game, whatever. I think it really opened up his eyes to what's going on at the back there. And I think this is a way for him to try and secure it a little bit. I think we'll see I think we'll see the team adapt and change throughout the season for like as far as setup goes and formation, without a doubt. Again, once certain guys come back. Right now, with Kostic coming in, I see a 3-5-2 being able to play out. I truly do right now at this point in time. Do I want it?
No.
It's not my preferred setup, but
No,
if I look at this group of guys, it makes sense. It makes sense.
it makes sense. If we're talking about only the 11 players, it makes total sense. And,
Yeah.
and in that situation, I fully agree. If we were talking about a team that only plays Serie A, I would fully be committed to the 3-5-2. The problem is we don't only play Serie A.
Yes.
And we frankly don't know when Pogba is coming back, and we don't. And Chiesa is the earliest he's coming back is on October. And frankly, I wouldn't count on Chiesa being a game changer from the start, because obviously it's been a long layoff, and we need to be careful with that. So that's my only conflict. We're short in some positions, and that's why I'm a little hesitant on doing that change, especially when we have shown that we're not yet completely 100% adapted to what Max wants to play. And we're constantly changing formations. That doesn't help, especially with all the young guys that we have, because we do have a lot of young guys on that midfield. It is not the same playing with a back three than a back four.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that makes, if we were a well-oiled team and we were playing great, and we have shown that we're able to adapt, I had no problem with that. But Juventus has not earned my trust at least the last 2 seasons. Enough trust for me to say, yeah, we can start that formation and we can just change to a 4-3-3 and be all good. That's my only holdup.
Yeah.
We could play a 4-2-2, frankly, and we could play a 4-2-2 in which you play Kostic on the left side. You got the 2 strikers, whoever you choose them to be. Frankly, we'll probably play with Di Maria and Vlahovic, playing with Kostic going forward. Your left side playing with Danilo, who could be playing good. And then you play with Zakaria on the left and the two midfielders. Yeah, I'm sorry, Anthony. I know.
Yeah, he goes, you haven't earned my trust. Where the hell have you been? That's amazing.
But you're playing a 4-2-3 when you attack in that sense.
Yeah.
You can do things that are more adaptable to what you have played this last season, and it's better for your team. I'm just not completely sure that we can just switch it and then switch it back.
That's fair. But I think, to be fair, even if we stuck with this 4-3-3 that we've gone through so far, it hasn't created enough promise to probably not take that other chance. And some of the things I've been seeing that would lead me to say, yeah, let's try this 3-5-2 is the fact that, number one, our press is non-existent.
No.
Non-existent. It was very difficult. Fagioli struggled immensely in picking up his positions, especially in trying to press forward. You could see, like in the Real Madrid game I was at there, Locatelli was constantly head on a swivel looking at Fagioli and screaming at him basically to get to his spot, and he never could in time, and they would just easily pick apart our mid. Again, it's Modric, Cruz, Casemiro. Regardless, you'd even see the forwards move up and look back, and then there's too big a gap. The 3-5-2 allows you easily to apply more pressure with less effort. Okay, so
Yes.
we can have a little bit more press with a little less work rate and whatnot, which should help us. At the back, 3 defenders, we're hoping for strength in numbers because the back 2 center backs, it ain't happening. Those guys at fullbacks, they needs a little bit of firepower there. So you know what? Use that extra man, play 3 center backs, get Kostic pushed up there. The thing with Kostic is he actually going to start on such a short window joining the team on a Thursday, regardless of what we're going to play, how we're going to do it? Even without a formation change, it's going to take time for these guys to adapt to each other. Even Kostic trying to get in and find his way amongst the team and whatnot. Di Maria hasn't 100% found himself yet, and he's been shifted around left, right, free roam role. So I think the 3-5-2 helps a guy like Di Maria because he has that freedom in a 3-5-2 to drift left, drift right, and be able to take advantage of pockets of space. And he's got everything up here to know exactly where he needs to go and needs to be. So it works on a number of reasons. The midfield, you're going to integrate a guy like Fagioli. Moretti appears to be getting his minutes, of course, especially until Pogba comes in and whatnot. But even with Pogba coming back, a 3-5-2 works because you still have your 3 main midfielders.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect Pogba, doesn't affect McKennie, doesn't affect any of the guys in the middle. It makes quite a bit of sense right now. And it will 1,000% be better than a friggin' 4-4-2 hybrid, which I can't express to everybody how done I am in a 4-4-2 hybrid. Like, done, man, done.
To be fair, a 4-4-2 hybrid just won Real Madrid the Champions League final.
Stop it. Stop it.
It's the truth.
Stop it.
I'm speaking fact. I'm preaching right now, and you know it. Don't make me pull up the guns
Stop
on you
it.
again. Come
Stop
on.
it.
Come
Put
on.
the guns away, Frankie.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Put the guns down.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think I can see it, despite it not being, the favorite. I want to get everybody on the live here. We're going to open it up to Storm the Barn session. What's Storm the Barn? You guys get to ask and fire away any questions you guys want right now. I want to remind everybody, I told you guys I was going to give you some details on the next stage as we're going to give away 3 Juventus 2022-23 kits, winner's choice. So we get a lot of requests and everybody gets fired up when these giveaways come up, and then, trying to figure out how do I get in this draw? How do I win? You have a lot of we have a lot of day one support out there. We're talking about 2018 when we started this show and everything, where it was just audio, just podcast. Now, of course, we've evolved into much, much more. And I thank everybody for the continued support. So we're going to make this as even as possible for everybody and maybe a little bit of an edge to the diehards. Okay. So over the next little bit, probably about a week or so, I'm going to be giving tips. I'm going to give a little tidbits in our daily update videos. Okay. I'm going to throw out little pieces of information. It might be a little trivia thing, whatever. It might be a little details here and there. Those details are going to be huge. Okay, so pay attention to all the daily update videos and like them, of course. But pay attention to all of those and watch them straight through, because you don't know when those little tidbits are going to come through. They could be at the start, they could be at the end of those videos, but there's going to be little tips, and those tips are going to come in key when we come down to the competition to give away those kits. Okay, so stay tuned, everybody. Now, as far as Storm the Barn goes, again, reminder, like this video. Okay, we got 76 on the live. Fantastic. You guys are amazing. And the feedback's all been great. So the live chat, from what we gathered today, we're all, for the most part, very, very optimistic about the job Cherubini and Arriva Bene have done. We're all a little cautious, it seems, and weary of what Max and the players are actually going to accomplish and going to do. But we have a prediction show that's going to be live on Saturday morning. Then we'll be able to get much more into it there. But it's going to be an interesting season, to say the least. It's always interesting with Juve involved. But to be honest, I think what I like the most is that with a couple moves, and Pogba comes back in 5 weeks, if we can manage him very, very well. So say Fagioli can integrate himself, hold his own, whatever. Maybe if Paredes comes and they try something new at Locatelli, maybe it takes with the other guys like Kostic and whatnot. That's another wild card, right? But if we can get Pogba back and manage, if Di Maria starts hitting the ground running in Serie A, because I truly think he's going to, it's funny once these names start coming, Depay already. I love seeing the fear in the rivals, Frankie. I love seeing those fans, those rival fans there start to get, nervous and start to think. And this is why I say, Juventini, Cherubini and Arriva Bene, once we have a true budget, once the cleanup's done, they are going to murder Italy, okay? They're gonna there's no doubt in my mind. So stay positive, everybody, okay? In terms of the results and the games and what we see, that's going to be a different story, and that's going to be up to Max and the players themselves. But our management is definitely heading in the right direction, and I feel much better direction than they were previously with Paratici. That seemed to be a chase of big names to try and bridge that gap and get to Champions League. It was like we were so close to Champions League, and then we thought one guy was just going to change it and one big splash, and then we just kept chasing splashes, and it was like, no, it's time to get back down to business. I like what Carabini and Reeve did then. The biggest thing, what Frankie said, the change in attitude and making it all about the shirt again, not the names on the back. That's the best part. That's the best part.
I'm just laughing too much. Yes, guys, this is my small water bottle.
Frankie sized.
Yeah, I'm not that small. I like 5'10", so I'm average. I think in Puerto Rico, at least I'm average size. That's my small water bottle.
If we start the season with these players, and after some games our points are bad, whom to blame? Maybe, just maybe, it might not be a blame game, to be honest, because this is another thing.
No.
We have to factor in everything. It's so, and I'm not saying this to you specifically, Anish. I'm talking about just fan bases in general. Football fans are crazy. Okay, we're all crazy. I'm crazy. Frankie's crazy. We're crazy. The passion that drives us can make us just see red instantly over the smallest things. And Frankie's laughing because he knows it's true. We could just lose it over matches, over the silliest things, and then you want to play the blame game. Let's take, for instance, a match last season against Inter where we dominated them. Okay, we lost. We didn't get the result, but we did everything right. I wasn't even upset. Because we literally went out there and played the best ball we have in months leading up to that. And we didn't cross the finish line. We didn't execute. We didn't score. Sure, you could pick some of those guys not executing, but honestly, I was fine because that's what I demand and that's what I asked for, is to go out there, be cohesive, play as a team, give it your all. And if the chips fall and it's not in our favor, hey, we did everything in our power to try and get that result. So not necessarily a blame game if we kick it off. However, if it looks as broken and disjointed as it, can for us over the past couple of years, then we might have a different story. Frankie, your quick thoughts on this?
Yeah, about that Inter game, I just want to say that was the first, because usually the commentary is destroying us. That's always happening. And that was the one of the only games that I saw that the commentary was like, Juventus is playing great. Juventus is playing better. They are being more dominant. They are forcing Inter to play the way they don't want. We still lost the game, but as I said, I wasn't upset at all. Well, you're upset because you didn't win, but I was not mad at the team because we try our best and we just didn't win. That happens. And we're talking about the blaming thing. I'll go back to what I always say. I say, if I see just individual performances that are being bad, like players are not able to control the ball, I'm not seeing the players run enough in some individual players, then I'll give the blame to the player, because you as a player need to be playing at your best, trying your hardest, and trying to score or defend. It depends on the role or on your position. But if I see a team that doesn't have a structure, I see there's no organization on the team, that there is not a plan in place, and we're just playing Vlahovic ball, go out and try your best, and Di Maria try to go past seven defenders and score, then I'm gonna get mad at the coach, because that's the coach's job. And I will always have a shorter leash on a experienced coach who has more than a season, because we gave a lot of coaches flags just for one season. This is Allegri's second season.
Yeah.
I want to see improvement. That's all
Yeah.
I'll ask. I want to see improvement. I want to see structure, and I want to see a team that knows what is playing. And frankly, it's not, obviously winning is the thing that matters. Yes, but how we play is going to determine if we are playing the blaming game or not.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. That's exactly how I feel, Frankie. So planning, cohesiveness, and unity amongst team, and understanding, shared understanding and game planning, coach. Execution, players. Okay. Prime example, if we're playing a game, we can't figure out how to get a shot attempt, okay, and not getting shots on targets and looking disjointed up front. That's a little bit beyond an execution issue. Okay. But if we are starting to generate a lot of chances and guys aren't finishing or missing sitters,
That's
whatnot, players.
exactly. That's
So
not on the coach.
that's kind of it. But again, we could come into a scenario, like I said, where if we are playing good, if we're generating, it's not falling, then I'm perfectly fine not blaming anybody and just trying to keep with it and get her going. So we just have to see. All situations are different, whatnot, right? Let's get into this one. Jeremiah, another big worry is Vlahovic. In 3 games, he's hardly got an attempt on target. In your opinion, what's wrong with him? How does Max get him to flourish and thrive? So, is it in fact a Vlahovic problem? Is it just the team play? Because right now, I don't think we're doing Vlahovic any favors in the manner and the style we play. A worry I personally have with Vlahovic is separate from this. But I will answer the second part. How does Max get him to flourish and thrive? It's without a doubt team play. Our team play has to pick up. We have to be able to find him. We have to be able to put him in scenarios where he can do damage. So it's literally going to be all about the buildup and breaking down defenses and being able to find him in the dangerous areas. He's an aerial threat. He's got range, shooting range and whatnot. So whether we have to play counterattacking in certain games, that's a nice thing. Another thing about the 3-5-2 that we already talked about it. It is equally as strong if you can get it right in a counterattack as it is in a buildup without changing anything. Conte has absolutely mastered it. Okay. He has absolutely mastered that setup and system. But to be honest, Vlahovic, what worries me about Vlahovic is he needs to put away the sitters. He gets
Yes.
quite a few opportunities that for a guy that's supposed to be an absolute killer up top, he has to finish. And for a team that scored 58 goals total last season, maybe 57, you guys can correct me, whatever. We need this guy bagging those gimmies. Without a doubt. That's the worry I have with Vlahovic is I see him missing a lot that a guy that's supposed to be the guy for us has to put away. But in terms of everything else, for me, it's going to be the team play. We have to put it together and be able to support him well enough and provide him the support in the dangerous areas. Frankie, quickly on Vlahovic, your thoughts?
Yeah, that's the main thing with him personally. The chances that he sometimes just doesn't bank those easy shots that he gets, because he does get those like twice a game, and those are the ones that you say, come on, at least put it on target. And sometimes he doesn't put it on target. That's when I get a little frustrated with him, in the sense that if we're talking about the team didn't do him any favors. If he was getting more service at Fiorentina, which is a team, and we talk about standings, a team with which is lower in the table, he was getting much more service, and you saw it on on each given game. So at least give him the chances to score. And I get mad when I see him trying to get a past 5, 6 guys just by
Yeah.
physically posing.
That's not his game.
Not, and that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You cannot ask a player to, and a young player, because even though we pay a lot of money and we're expecting a lot of big things, he's a young guy. He's very young still, and you're asking a young guy who's trying to adapt to get the ball on a league which great defenders, now less because a lot of them went away, but great defenders in the central back position. You're asking him just to get the ball, go past 4 guys and score. That's not fair to
Yeah.
any striker in the world. It doesn't matter what your name is. You can be called Vlahovic, Mbappe, Haaland. It doesn't matter. You cannot ask that game in and game out about your striker. You need to put him in a position in which he's able to score. It doesn't matter if it's in with aerial attacks, in counter attacks. If you're passing the ball and getting balls in good positions for him to shoot, it don't matter. But he needs to get that service. And I think this season he's gonna get better service because we have better players surrounding him to get that service. But that's gonna be a priority. Can Max do it? Of course he can. He did it with other players. He did it with Mandzukic was getting service. He did it with Higuain, who Higuain was not the player
Yeah.
physically that Vlahovic is. So he can, of course, he can do it.
Yeah. Now, have faith, guys. He's only 22 years of age. He will only get better. He will be like Mandzukic. Dom, we have faith. Okay, I'm not by any
No,
means
of course.
breaking him down or anything, but I'm saying
That's
just
it.
something I've noticed dating back last season since he joined us. There are some sitters he needs to be bearing, but
course.
absolutely no problems with Vlahovic. I'd actually this season also like to see him step up and taking free kicks on the right side of the area because he can do it. And I think it would help build him up, confidence and whatnot. So in games where he might be struggling and we might be struggling in play, it's a nice little pick me up if we can give him those and maybe he bags one. He's very good at free kicks too. So, and this season, we don't really have a clear cut free kick specialist. Di Maria can take them and whatnot, but Vlahovic is right there in the mix. So maybe, just maybe, we give Vlahovic a little bit more to his name for us. And hey, every goal helps, and we need to start finding a way to taking those luxury goals. We used to be very, very good at it, you know, with Pjanic, Dybala, whatnot. Pjanic had a great rate. We got to get back and start making teams pay for those fouls and everything. So be interesting. Let's get to the next one. We got a couple more we probably have time for. Why is Juve sticking with the old fitness team? Mercado is useless if players keep getting injured.
That's
maybe they just didn't do they should, okay, but they might have made some changes with the fitness team that haven't been fully ousted yet as far as the reports. I think if they do make the change, these guys need a full signing video like the players do because it'll be so big for this team because injuries are crazy. So give the new fitness team, get them in there and get them a signing video, okay, a launch, a release video. By the way, Bremer's is going to be tomorrow. So Bremer's got his presser tomorrow. And for everybody, Quadrado's back to training today in full. McKennie partial. Okay, so that's some good news for guys coming back. Suarez, what are your realistic expectations for this coming season? In my opinion, we have to win the domestic double and at least reach the Champions League semis with these signings and the returning Fede Chiesa. Thoughts? For me, domestically, before we can get back to where we want to be in Europe, we have to lock down domestic and get our game together. And there's so much that goes into Champions League, so much luck involved in everything. And just we've got to lock it down domestically and start to make that progress again. In Champions League, I just don't want it to be such a soft out. Does that make sense, Frankie? Like, I just basically, like, if we're going to go out, I want to go out swinging at whatever stage it's in. I'm done with these past 3 seasons where it's such a like blah, you know what I mean? Out. Like, it was just like, oh my God, this is the best we have. Like, and it's not. We're capable of so much more. So for me, no matter what stage you go out, if you're going to go out with absolutely everything you have. Domestically, I agree with you, Swery. We should be in the mix for everything domestically. Frankie, quick on your expectations.
Domestically, we need to go for the Scudetto. We are Juventus. We did have a lot of signings. So we have experienced coach, good players. You need to go for the Scudetto. There's no other way around it. Especially in the second season of Max.
Yeah,
we're talking about Europe, man. Frankly, each year you ask, "Oh, let's get a soft team and try to advance." After the last 3 years, I frankly want to go against a good team. Just try our best on whatever stage and swing for defenses, but against a big team, like. Because I just keep getting annoyed with we're getting this favorable matchups on the paper, and we keep getting our ass kicked, and that's what I don't like.
Yeah.
So it don't matter the stage, frankly.
Exactly.
Just go out fighting.
Together.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm with you. Now, Anish, can we have a Discord server for communication and interaction off stream? This was asked previously on a live show, and you know what? We're going to make it happen. You guys, we're all about you guys. You guys make the channel what it is. I can't stress that enough. Thank you for all your support. We're going to start a Discord server for just carry on from these live shows and everything that's going on, okay? Quick reminder, we've got 91 live today. It better be 91 likes on this video. Actually, a little bit more from people coming in and out. So everybody take the second, like the video here. We've got time for one more. And this is going to be, I have a hard time imagining Allegri playing with 2 wingers. Do you guys see Kostic and Di Maria playing together? Well, the nice thing about Di Maria is, and actually Kostic as well is capable of playing the right side for anybody that's not familiar, but Di Maria can slide across to both sides. And will they be playing together? I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Can they? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you see 2 winger systems all over the place, right? And if Kostic's going to be used as a wing back as well, there's absolutely no reasons for these guys not to share the pitch. Frankie, what do you think?
Yeah, of course. And also the thing is that they are disciplined defensive players. They are not just guys that go forward and don't think about defense, because even though Di Maria is an older player, he still does his defensive work in a respectable way when we talk about an offensive player. And Kostic was just a wingback, so he needs to have some defensive capabilities. So, and that's something that Max thinks about a lot, and I fully think that Max is going to be confident enough on their defensive side to play them both at the same time. And especially Di Maria is a very smart player. He's very smart and underrated. I think he's going to be, they're going to play together. It doesn't matter the formation, back 3, back 4. They're going to play together.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Now, last, certainly not least, okay? And if we didn't get to one, again, once we fire up the Discord, that'll be great for the ones that we can add on. But last one, in hindsight, from Jeremiah, do you guys miss Dybala's magic on the pitch, goals and assists? And when is Lex coming back on the show? Lex just hasn't worked out based on commitments and whatnot. Obviously, she's still a current player there, and she's got team commitments and practices, games and whatnot, some travel. So it just hasn't worked out. She, I believe, is over the Dybala thing. You know, I think she's happy that he didn't end up at Inter Merda. You know, it's okay. Roma's got something cooking, but don't worry. We'll talk about it all on the prediction show Saturday morning. But do I miss Dybala's magic on the pitch, goals and assists? I mean,
we didn't see it.
I did. I mean, I always liked Dybala. I was always a Dybala fan and supporter. Over the past little bit, I kind of was honest, brutally honest, that to me, I got sick and tired of all the nonsense with the extension. And it's not just Dybala's fault. It's obviously clubs and everything. But I got so tired of it that I just wanted it to end no matter what the outcome. And sadly for me, like and I shouldn't say sadly, but I'm not one to be scared of change. So do I miss Dybala? I look back at certain memories and I enjoy them and I enjoy thinking about it. And I'm glad Dybala didn't end up at Inter. However, the way I'm programmed, I can't help but remind myself he used Inter while being our captain as a bargaining chip. That's not a good look, Paolo. So do I miss his magic on the pitch? I more look forward to somebody else's magic this season and in the future for Juventus, okay? So I'm looking more forward to that. By the way, Locatelli, my guy, you know, grabbed my cell phone in Los Angeles, took a selfie for us, man. Loca's been looking good. And this season, Loca's going to shred, man. He's looking good. But your thoughts on Paolo? Do you miss him at all, Frankie?
I gotta say, always respect to the players. He did try. I know he tried his best for Juventus because at the end of the day, you want to be the best player you can be. So that's out of the questioning his commitment. And you knew he liked the club. He loved the club because he was crying like my nephew when the last game. That you saw the emotion, especially of the years that he had. Would I miss his magic? Well, obviously, a player of that ability, you like to have those kind of players. But at some point, there was a reality check. He just kept getting injured, and he didn't see as fully committed in wanting to stay at all costs. Because at the end of the day, he did have an offer. He could have stayed if he would have accepted that offer at first. He didn't. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I just say he's a good player. He's not a Juventus legend in my opinion. He's a very good player that played on Juventus. And I wish him the best. And I think we're gonna be all right. And I really want to see more of other players like Luca, like Chiesa, like even the Bremer, who I really like Bremer before all the league situation. I really wanted Bremer at Juventus. I'm really happy that he is in Juventus. And I'm looking forward to those players and players like Singo who are going to come next season. Who's going to come out? Singo is coming home.
Okay.
No, Singo is coming home. But I'm really pumped from the players that we do have.
This is it right here. If Dybala puts in an injury-free season this year, fire our fitness team ASAP. The fitness team, this is something that's interesting too. Not that I want to talk about De Ligt because he always talks about Juventus apparently, but the thing is, it's interesting to see that he's not up to fitness standards at Bayern. So historically, Juventus has been known for very difficult, intense training sessions and whatnot, but it's kind of another eye opener and whatnot for a fitness / training staff that a guy goes to Bayern and like he's working extra to try and be able to make it through the sessions because he can't make it through. That's a bit of an eye opener. So some things that Juve needs to pay attention to. So interesting stuff. I want to thank everybody on the live. That's all the time we have for. Again, Saturday morning is going to be a live prediction show. It was awesome having Frankie back. Look at Anthony here. Great content, guys. You get me through my mornings at work. Please keep pumping out the content. We are not going anywhere. Thank you, Anthony, and thank you everybody here for the support. The Discord, absolutely great shout. Look at this. Everybody pumped up. Kush, good shout. Anish for the Discord. Vito Discord server would be awesome. Anthony saying he could finally go somewhere and really tell people how he feels.
Oh my God.
We're going to fire it up. It's going to be great. And everybody, again, stay tuned to the daily videos and pay close attention, because that is going to be your key to locking in one of those 3 Juventus 2022-23 kits we're going to give away, okay? So we went through all the news. Depay, we're just waiting to see. There are talks with Barca today to see if he can break free of that contract, figure out compensation on a leave from them, and Juve would pounce on a free 2-year deal, apparently ready for him at Juve on $5 million a season. In terms of Rabiot, personal terms, let's see if his mommy can see him through to England. Okay, so fingers crossed. That prediction show might turn into us popping bottles if Rabiot goes, because I think sweet Lucifer Lou is going to be around, and if Rabiot's gone and Lou's on the show, it's going to be fireworks. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your weeks. I'll be back with daily update videos, and then we'll talk to you live Saturday morning as we get ready for that match on Monday against Sassuolo. Fino alla fine, forza Juve. Ciao tutti.